Welcome to our overview of the North Kingstown School Department's Facilities Master Planning process. My name is Kelia Kenter and I am the Educational Planner leading this process. In this presentation, we will introduce you to the consultant team that has worked on this study so far and give an overview of what master planning is and the RIDE school construction process, as well as this particular process and its progress so far, the timeline to date, as well as next steps. A team of 4 consultants worked on various aspects of this plan. Educational planning was done by Kelia Kenter and Mike Parolo of MLP-ID. Enrollment projection analysis was performed by Flow Analytics, and site field test models and massing studies were done by SignalWorks Architecture. Kelia Kenter has been assisting Rhode Island schools with their facilities master plan since 2008. Mike Parolo is an educator who also works with districts to understand their buildings and how they can best suit their teaching methods. SignalWorks is a Providence-based firm that works with Rhode Island schools to create mission-driven designs, and Flow Analytics has worked on school enrollment projections across the country. So, what is facilities master planning? It is a structured study of a district's existing buildings and properties, aimed at identifying both short and long-term facilities priorities and goals. In short, it tries to answer the question, how do we want to grow and what do we need to do to get there? A typical master plan looks out 5 to 10 years into the future, identifying the big picture goals for the district's facilities. These plans are important because they can help guide capital investment in thoughtful and impactful ways, identifying efficiencies in how a district invests in its buildings. Additionally, as we'll discuss in a moment, education has dramatically changed over time, and the facilities that were built 50 to 100 years ago need to evolve to meet the needs of the evolving education. Finally, in Rhode Island, districts are required to submit facilities master plans every 5 years as part of the state funding for school construction projects. North Kingstown is currently eligible for anywhere from 35 to 55% reimbursement on total project costs, depending on the parameters of the work. Now is a great time to be doing your district's master plan as well. The 2018 statewide school construction bond provided access to over $250 million in funding for school construction projects. This image is of the newly renovated Eden Park in Cranston. This was a $10 million renovation, and a large portion of the project was paid for by the state. Before we talk about the evolution of education, I want to take a minute to look at this quote because it captures the mission of master planning. The true meaning of life is to plant trees under whose shade you do not expect to sit. For those of you who currently have students in the North Kingstown School District, there is a very good chance that your children will not be in these schools by the time these projects that are identified in the master plan come to fruition. This truly is an exercise in planning today for a better tomorrow. In this process, we will be thinking not just about the next 5 years, which is the funding timeline that RIDE will approve, but also about the district's vision for the next 10 years, so that we can understand the ripple effects this planning effort will have the next time the district submits for school construction funding. As mentioned previously, education has changed dramatically in the last century. Formal public education was first implemented in Massachusetts in 1852, and by 1918 was compulsory throughout the United States. When these schools were first founded, they were not focused on fostering critical thought or creativity, but rather rote memorization of basic information, literacy, numeracy, and manners. These were considered the essential skills needed for the burgeoning workforce, particularly for factory jobs, which were plentiful because of the Industrial Revolution. But of course, our economy has changed. Automated manufacturing has eliminated many of those jobs and permanently altered that industry, and many other industries as well. Technology has made information ubiquitous, so that rote memorization is not as necessary as it once was. Collaboration, communication, and many of the skills that we used to think of as soft skills are now the things that employers value most. And yet, our classrooms still look the same. The Future of Jobs 2020 report from the World Economic Forum identified these as the top 10 skills for 2025. They fall under the overarching categories of problem solving, self-management, working with people, and technology development. This graphic is produced by Battelle for Kids, and it outlines the core components of New Century education. You can see that the foundation is still the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic, but ideally these are taught through the lens of current themes and events. Layered on top of this essential foundation are 3 other components: life and career skills, learning and innovation skills, and information, media, and technology skills. Let's look at some examples, right here in Rhode Island, of how educational facilities can support these educational goals. We'll start with the first component of life and career skills. These are the skills that enable our kids to make their way in the real world. Skills like time management, social emotional health, and interpersonal relationships. Here we see a collaborative learning commons at Eden Park Elementary in Cranston, Rhode Island. This space allows students opportunities to work independently and collaboratively on hands-on projects, helping them to develop these skills. When we talk about learning and innovation skills, we're referring to the 4 C's: critical thinking, creativity, communication, and collaboration. The skills that make one a good problem solver. This is an image from Smithfield, Rhode Island's newly renovated elementary schools, where makerspaces were incorporated into the fabric of the learning environment to help develop those skills by providing another place for hands-on learning. Information, media, and technology skills refer not only to learning how to use modern technology tools and information sources, but also how to be a savvy consumer of media and information. Here we see another makerspace in Smithfield that supports more advanced machinery, with electrical drop-downs and durable work surfaces for more intensive projects. These are the new science labs at the newly constructed Barrington Middle School. Movable work tables and sink access at the edge of the room allow for a flexible learning environment that can be reconfigured in a variety of ways to support different instructional activities. By now, you're probably asking, how long will this take? What will the projects be? And when will construction start? And I can definitively tell you that it depends. This master planning effort is set for completion in June of 2022. The projects to be included in that plan will be determined by the assessed needs of the district, as well as the community vision that comes out of this engagement process. The district will submit its funding request in February of 2023. A bond referendum will be held sometime after, where the town will have the opportunity to vote yea or nay on the project, and the school building authority will grant approval of funding in May of 2023. After that, the timeline is highly dependent on the nature of the projects that are approved. A new construction project could take anywhere from 2 to 5 years, while renovation work can take even longer, as it would need to be phased around when school buildings are occupied by students. But here we are in the present, at the beginning portion of this process, the master plan. The goal of this portion is to answer 2 questions. First is, how well do North Kingstown's buildings meet the district's needs? To answer this, we look at facilities' physical conditions. Are they warm, safe, and dry? We also look at the building's educational suitability. Are they modern, flexible facilities that can meet the changing needs of students and teachers? We look at capacity and utilization. Can we fit the student population into these buildings? And we try to understand if the buildings are cost efficient. Finally, we look at the sites themselves to see how well they serve the facility and its users. Each of these criteria is looked at through the lens of identifying what opportunities for future improvement exists at each facility. Once we've gone through those various analyses, we look at the second big question. What needs to be done to these facilities so that the district's needs can be better met? This is where we look at how teachers would like to teach, student needs, and the community input to understand what the range of possibilities might be. We look at a variety of options for a comprehensive master plan and try to narrow down to one preferred option, which is then developed into the master plan. This graphic shows where we are in the process. A robust visioning process was held with district administration and educators in spring, summer, and fall of 2021. Facilities educational suitability walkthroughs were held in July of 2021, and operational cost and development potential analyses were completed in August of 2021. An enrollment projection study was completed in February 2022, and a capacity analysis was done in March of 2022. Now we are embarking upon community engagement, where we want to hear from residents of this community as to what they would like to see for the future of this process. This community engagement plan has been structured to provide multiple opportunities to participate. On the district website, you will find multiple informational videos providing information on the master plan analyses and findings so far. You can watch these videos anytime, ideally before the in-person community engagement sessions scheduled for April 27th and 28th. Additionally, a community survey is available on the website. Please take a moment to fill out the survey before April 25th, as your responses will help guide the direction of our in-person meetings and help the facilitators to understand the values of the community ahead of time. The in-person engagement sessions will offer participants the opportunity to provide input and feedback that will be used to develop the options for the future of the middle and elementary schools, as well as the overall district master plan. These options will be presented at a third meeting scheduled for May 16th. So in summary, please take some time to watch the informational videos and fill out the survey prior to April 25th. And please mark your calendars for April 27th and 28th at 6:30 p.m. We will be excited to meet you and hear your feedback.